I'm going to teach you some of the trickier ones, the unequilateral rectangular prism. I'll teach you a cone, a pyramid, and a cylinder. Cylinder is one of the easiest ones to do. You again decide how tall the cone is going to be. So if I want my cone to be this tall, all I do is roll it. And however big you want it, that's how big you roll it. So I can always let it out and have a wider tube, or I can really curl it in and have a thinner tube. Now if you're going to cut into it eventually, you don't want to have a cylinder that is 7 layers thick of paper, because this is too hard. Well, my scissors cut through it, but in some cases with the glue added, it gets too thick. So keep that in mind as you're going. I like to put my finger inside and pinch and leave myself a little tab. This is what I use to add glue, just to the edge. Then I hold, and if you are lazy and don't want to hold it for 20 seconds, you can always put your scissors on it. So while our cylinder dries, let's make an unequilateral rectangular prism. So again, we decide how wide we want our rectangular prism to be, and we're going to fold. Alright, now we decide how big we want one of the sides. Now when it comes to an unequilateral rectangular prism, that means you have like a table. You have really long side and really short sides. Really short sides, and then the bottom is going to be a really long side again. So you've got 2 really long sides that are the same size and 2 really short sides. So it's like a pattern. So you can start out with the big side or the small side. I'm going to start out with the small side. So decide how wide you want it. Match it up. Now unfold, and we're going to look from here, and we're going to decide how wide the big side is. So let's say I want it there. I'm going to match it up, fold it. Okay, now I'm trying to keep the pattern small side, big side, small side. And it's really hard to figure out. You can get a ruler. You can take a tool from the edge, and I'm going to grip where the fold is. I'm going to line up the edge, grip where the fold is. My fold should be about here. Then you can check by putting it down like it's a table and seeing if the top is flat. So you would get an eye level. You would put it flat on the table, and then you would get down here and you would see if it was flat or even. And then, yeah, the same thing. I need to know where the next fold is. So I get that in place. And I pinch where that fold should be. And now I've got my unequilateral rectangular prism. Now, with a cone, you need a circle. So you could trace out a circle using the circle of a container anywhere. You could trace it. So I've got my circle. I'm going to make one cut into the middle. So if you want, you could just eyeball where you think the middle is. You're going to cut into the middle. That's it. Now I take my two flaps and I'm going to turn them over each other. And I've got a little cone. So again, take my two flaps. One goes over, one goes under. And if I want my cone to be taller, I'm simply going to make those flaps go over each other more. So, so I can even get a nice pointy cone. Same thing as the cylinder. You want to pinch it with fingers, leave a teeny flap so you can glue by the edge and pinch it in place. This one I'm going to want to hold. And the last one is a pyramid. So building off my knowledge of how to make origami, origami usually starts with a square, and that's what our pyramid is going to start with. So I'm going to bring, if my paper is not a square, you take your top corner, you fold it down, and what you're doing is you are making this a point, and you are lining up the edges here. So you could always start with any size paper and turn it into a perfect square just by folding the corner. This is extra. I'm going to cut it off. Now this is a perfect square. Now this fold helps us because we want this crease and then we want to do a crease the other way, so you have an X. I'm going to take these two, line the points up, crease. Now I've got a square with an X. I'm going to cut like I did with the cone. I'm going to cut one cut to the middle. Here's the middle. I'm going to follow along a fold. Simply take two folds over, and you've got a pyramid. With built-in flaps.